Yo, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy, the Wizard King, and welcome to today's video where I'm gonna be doing something a little different. In that, I'm gonna be talking about the Naruto slash Boruto verse. Yes, you heard me right. We're gonna be talking about Boruto today. So for those of you who follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, link in the description below. But if you do follow me on Twitter, you know that I'm also a huge fan of the Boruto series in that it is currently my second favorite new gen um, series, second only to Black Clover. And, just seeing it get so much hate online, um, it's kind of disheartening. So I felt like it was time for me to speak up about this. So here I am making this video. Um, and it's kind of ironic because if you asked me like 3 years ago when the like not when it first started airing, but around 3 years ago in like 2017, 2018, I would have been like, yeah, bro, Boruto's trash. Don't watch that shit. But here I am making a video defending the series a couple years later, and that is to kind of attest to the evolution of the series as a whole. And yeah, we're gonna be getting into that. So if that's something you are interested in, no, actually, no, fuck that. You gotta listen to this, cause like I need to talk to you guys. I need to put some sense in your head, cause I used to be one of you who used to hate on the series, and I finally got my head out of my ass and kind of paid attention to the little nuances, and just Boruto has this ability to kind of win you over. So I'm going to be talking about what makes the series good. Obviously, nothing is perfect. So I'm also going to be talking about, why I feel like the series gets the amount of hate it does. And yeah, so stick around for that. Let's get into it. Cue intro. All right. First off, I want to say thanks for sticking around. Moving forward in the video, I am going to be as objective as possible. So that means I might say some things that some of the Boruto fans may not necessarily agree with, and I might say some things that some of the Boruto haters may not necessarily agree with, and that's fine. You can't please everybody. So just listen and hear what I have to say, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. All right, let's get into it. Going into it, why do I think Boruto gets the amount of hate it does? Alright, so like any reputable Shonen Jump series, there's two parts to it, right? There's the manga, that's the source material, and then there's the anime that adapts from the manga and expands on certain concepts and lore within the manga. Okay, so majority of people don't read manga. Majority of people watch anime, right? So here's where I think the problem with Boruto comes in. The Boruto anime started off really good, right? So the first episode, we got Kawaki versus Boruto in the beginning. The village is destroyed, they're talking, at each other. Like Boruto's like, yo, I never thought we'd get to this Kawaki. A lot of you have seen the scene. Whatever. Moving forward, we get this introduction into kind of who Boruto is, just kind of like a slice of life type thing. They're starting their first day at the Ninja Academy, I believe. See Shino, the Hokage, Naruto. Like it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. But then I feel like moving forward, the anime kind of trailed off a little bit, and a lot of the episodes started to feel like filler. And that's what caused a lot of people, including myself, to drop it initially, right? Because like I don't want to see Chocho and Inojin like drawing shit. I mean, I guess like it kind of expands on their individual characters, but I feel like at that point, with the way that they started, they should have kind of kept that fire going instead of like trailing off more into slice of life. And then another problem I feel like a lot of people had initially was, the exploration of the Jogan. Now, hear me out, hear me out. So, not saying that the introduction of the Jogan was a bad idea. When they first introduced the Jogan, it wasn't fully like explored. Not that not even that it wasn't fully explored. It wasn't partially explored. Like they just introduced it and they're like, yeah, okay, Boruto has this new special eye, like, and we're like, okay, cool. Like, what can it do? Like, oh, it can see chakra and evil intent. Like that whole arc was okay. Boruto has this Jogan, so and then it's like, now what? Like, what is he gonna do with it? Like, can we get more explanation about this eye? Like, even if it's from an external source or something, like it could be an Otsutsuki cut, they're talking about, okay, this is the Jogan, blah, blah, blah. And I get that we got that a little bit from Momoshiki, but I feel like at that point it was way too late. And because they had like introduced it a little so because they had introduced it a little bit earlier, without too much context, it didn't have as much impact as it could have when it was brought up again. And I'm not trying to say the introduction of the Jogan was bad writing, not in my opinion at least. In my opinion, I think the introduction of the Jogan was a good thing and it was good writing. It just could have been expanded on a little more. And I feel like some fans, especially OG Naruto fans who witnessed the introduction of the Sharingan and the amount of hype around it, the whole Jogan introduction wasn't as hype, and I feel like it doesn't sit well with a lot of OG Naruto fans. But all in all, I feel like the introduction of the Jogan did serve to propel the Boruto series forward, in that we know that the Jogan is an Otsutsuki power, and with the main threats being Otsutsuki in the Boruto series, it only makes sense that you would need an Otsutsuki power to be able to kind of handle these threats. And it is really important in that from what we've seen in the latest chapters, we know that the Jogan is really important. If you know what I'm talking about, with what Ishiki told Code, and the image we saw of the one who had absorbed everything, you would see how critical the Jogan was. So all in all, I'd say it was pretty good stuff. The eye is supposedly super powerful. It is the pure eye, and still I feel like Toneri had some part to play in the perception or the concept of the Jogan and it being handed down to Boruto. But I digress. Okay, but another thing the Jogan does is kind of the introduction of the Jogan did was kind of to segue into Naruto and Boruto's relationship, because if you remember, after the introduction, when Boruto was talking about it, Naruto didn't believe him, right? So it kind of went to further expand on the relationship that Naruto and Boruto had at the time. Now, this is a huge, huge, huge qualm for a lot of people, because they basically don't like the way Boruto doesn't respect his father, and the way Boruto doesn't acknowledge his father as Hokage, whatever, whatever. That's not the case. Okay. So you need to understand that this is a kid. This is a boy who grew up with his father being around. And then his father becomes Hokage, and all of a sudden his father's not around anymore. So I feel like Boruto's reaction was kind of appropriate for his age. He was going into his teens at the time. So it was a kind of an appropriate reaction. Was it the best? No. Could it have been portrayed better? Possibly. But it doesn't take away from the fact that, that whole scenario served to further develop Boruto's character into the person that he is today. And a lot of people who are watching this right now probably don't realize that the relationship between Naruto and Boruto has changed drastically. Like right now, Boruto isn't, according to a lot of people, the brat that, he used to be to Naruto. Like he respects Naruto, he acknowledges Naruto, he understands Naruto better. So I feel like, it's unfair to look at Boruto and be like, oh yeah, that brat, he doesn't respect his dad, fuck Boruto, blah 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 blah. That's bullshit, okay? Like, first off, it was an age appropriate reaction for the kid. And second of all, now he's developed from that and he understands that the obligation his father has isn't just to him, but to the village as a whole. So the whole, Boruto's an asshole, Boruto's a brat thing. I mean, sure, that was at some point the case, but if you watch this series, you would understand that that served to be part of Boruto's character development, in that he's moved away from that, and him and Naruto now have a better understanding of themselves and a better understanding of each other and their relationship as father and son and as Hokage and another ninja. Moving on. One thing Boruto serves to do, which I like a lot, is the expansion of the lore from the Naruto verse. There has been, with the introduction of Kaguya at the end of the war arc, which by the way is not an ass pull. And if you think that's an ass pull, you need to get your head checked out, because Kaguya was foreshadowed many, many, many seasons ago in the OG Naruto with the introduction of Kimimaro and the Kaguya clan. So yeah, if you think Kaguya was an asshole, go get your head checked out or go rewatch Naruto or something. But yeah, lore expansion is one of the better parts of Boruto. The Otsutsuki villains are incredible. You have the likes of Ishiki, you have the likes of Momoshiki, you have the likes of, okay, you know what? We don't talk about Urashiki. Yeah, like Urashiki never happened, okay? Which, in my opinion, Urashiki was one of the worst parts of Boruto. Like the Urashiki arc was ass. That shit was trash. Okay, it was garbage. But like I said, not everything is perfect, and Boruto, while it's good, it still has some of those moments where you're like, gee, I wish they didn't do that. Like with the whole Mitsuki arc. Now, a lot of people, this arc is very controversial because a lot of people feel like it serves to further the plot of the story with the introduction of, synthetic humans and cyborgs and things like that. And definitely, I agree. But the problem with the arc was kind of its execution, in that it was, in my opinion, way too drawn out. It kind of lacked the critical emotional elements that the Sasuke retrieval arc had. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't emotional at all. Boruto and Sarada and Shikadai, the rest of the people who joined them, were pretty emotionally involved, and it did kind of tug on your heartstrings, but it wasn't as emotional as it could be. And it was kind of drawn out, like I said, making a lot of the episodes feel like filler to a lot of the Boruto fans. Okay, so overall, what did I think about that arc? Sure, 100% it served to further the plot. I just think it could have been a little bit better executed. Now, a lot of you might be like, "Oh, he's turning into the anime," but just hear me out. Like, it's really not that deep, because the manga, the manga didn't have that arc, but the manga does a good job of, expanding on a lot of the lore in the like currently evolved shinobi world. And I'm just saying it could have been better executed. That's all. Like currently the arc that's going on right now, the Kara actuation arc, complete and utter fire. Like no notes. Shit is a 10 out of 10. But like the Mitsuki arc, I'd give it like an 8 at best, a 6 at worst. Okay, moving on. The evolution of the shinobi world, with the introduction of technology, is something that Boruto explores is technology inherently good or bad? With the owl arc, which was pretty fucking good, we got to kind of explore that a little bit, and I'll kind of gave Boruto the answer to that. Nothing's inherently good or bad, it just all depends on how you use it, which I think is a pretty cool concept. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm gonna wrap it up right now. If you guys want a part two, comment in below. But another thing, like the Boruto series is really good for, is good fights. Like the fights are really, really hype, And a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, I don't like the way they're writing Naruto and Sasuke's fighting," which you would be kind of right, Like they have, had some missteps here and there with the way Naruto and Sasuke rather fight. But it cannot be helped because the Boruto like series is set in an era where ninjutsu is kind of becoming obsolete, and because a lot of the villains now can absorb ninjutsu, so they're relying heavily on taijutsu, and a lot of people feel like it makes it more Dragon Ball esque, which you wouldn't be wrong, but is that really a bad thing? Like, is that really, really bad? Like, how many Rasengans are you gonna see before you're satisfied? Um, okay, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like, come on. It's not all bad, okay? Like, there's some new techniques that are being introduced. There's some new jutsus that are being, brought to limelight. And it's not necessarily like a completely bad thing because it kind of shifts the dynamic of the old Naruto series to something newer, something fresher. Like you wouldn't want to see like a Sasuke Deidara-esque battle where they just my ninjutsu is better than your ninjutsu. Like, bruh, we saw that all through Naruto. We saw that all through the war arc. Like, come on, let's move on to something else. Um, Another thing I think is pretty cool is the concept of the karma, and Boruto's dilemma in that he's gonna get his body taken over by Momoshiki if he allows the karma to fully extract, which I think is pretty cool. Like it still follows the concept of the demon within, with that Naruto had as a kid growing up, where he loses control and whatever, but it has its own twist to it in that this is a completely different sentient entity that has separate goals than Kurama did or whatever. Like Kurama just wanted to be free, man. That he just like, yo, let me out of here, let me go home. But Momoshiki's like, yo, I'm trying to get out of here and I'm trying to destroy your world. So it's a bit of a different concept, and I really like that. It gives more depth to it. It gives more yeah, it gives more depth to it, all right, so another thing, last but not least, because this video is pretty fucking long, Boruto and Kawaki's dynamic is something that's pretty interesting. Here's why. Because these two go from being best friends slash brothers to fighting in the future. So what the fuck happened? And that's something I'm really, really curious about. And yeah, I'd like to see how they got from point A to point B. So it's pretty cool. There's more I'd like to talk about, but this video is getting too long, and long videos are a bitch to edit. So if you enjoyed the video or liked anything I had to say, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below if you felt like, okay, you could have talked about this more, or you didn't talk about this enough, or you didn't even bring this up anymore. Like, just drop it down in the comment below. You could talk there. Or if you want to see a part 2 of this video, because I do have a little bit more to talk about when it comes to like the Boruto franchise and why it's actually good. Yeah, just leave a comment down below and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.